Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're continuing with our deep dive into the engineering design process. This is our process that we are utilizing to help solve problems, and today we're working on our toy design challenge. You need to design, so we define the problem, you need to design a toy to be used and to be given away in a kid's meal box. So you all probably remember going to the store or going to the restaurant with your family when you were a little kid and you were super excited to get that toy, to get that box. That was all you wanted. It was the happy, fun adventure meal from your favorite restaurant. You probably have a memory of that experience when you bought that meal for that toy. Those toys probably weren't that amazing in the end. But if we look at them as an engineering design, they served a purpose. And we're going to design one for you now. So our problem is to design a mechanical toy that encourages kids to want to buy that meal. Now that's a challenging problem, and we have some stiff requirements that we need to adhere to. So in the next phase of the process, as we establish our design requirements, we need to make sure we understand what it is our project needs to do. Kids meal toys, while they're a lot of fun for the kids, they can be a big pain for the family, and they can be a major expense for the restaurant. So we need to design the best kids meal toy that is the best bang for the buck for the family and for the restaurant. And of course, kids enjoy. So in order to solve our process and to solve our problem and do a great job, first we need to sit down and establish what our requirements are. The requirements for this project, well, let's think about it. So for a kids meal toy, what does it need? Well, it needs to be fun. It needs to be inexpensive. What else does it need? We need to have moving parts. Because our design requirements, design statement provided in the problem did say that it has to be a mechanical toy. And mechanical means moving parts. So we're going to have moving parts. It's got to be safe. It's got to be able to be shipped and packaged. What else do we need? We have to be able to complete this in a given time, so we have a certain number of days to complete this challenge, so we establish it to complete it on time. Which could be, I think we have 2 days for this project, 2 class days, so we gotta make sure that we don't over stress ourselves with creating the most. We can create a really cool and amazing design that has all sorts of nifty bells, lights, whistles, and gadgets, but if we can't finish it in the time, then it doesn't matter. You know, the first product to market is frequently going to win. So what else do we need to do? Let's see. It's got to be fun. It's got to be inexpensive. It's got to have no moving parts. It's got to be safe. It'd be great if it was. It would be really great if we, could produce a product that was sustainable. I mean, as you design new products for the market, we need to consider the long life of these products. I mean, these have a tendency to be products that get used a couple of times and thrown away. So when we choose the materials and processes, we want to think about, minimizing the impact on the long-term impact on our landfills and our resources that we drain on, because if you're going to be making out of materials that we can't replenish, that could be a problem. That could also drive up the cost. Let's see. Fun, inexpensive, moving parts, safe, able to be packaged, shipped, completed on time. Should have a good theme. It should be simple and easily recognizable. What else does it need? Easily recognizable. It's moving parts, safe. So this is the part where we start asking the questions. Ask some of those deep questions. So, like, who does it appeal to? Children, parents. Oh, parents need to make sure that it's who? Parents. What do we need? What are the parents' concerns? Parents are a stakeholder in this, so try to avoid toe stepping, not crush toes, not poke through the feet. Think about that when the parents doesn't make a mess of them, not make a mess of the house. Doesn't stain, doesn't have any components like inks or dyes or paints that could stain the floor. We gotta watch out for choking. We gotta avoid choking. No choking, no choke hazard. It's got to it's going to be served with food, so we have to make sure that it doesn't contaminate the food. Doesn't have anything that, no parts or contaminants. We call that food safe. We make sure that we choose materials that aren't going to cause a health problem. So fun, inexpensive, has to have moving parts, has to be safe. Theme, easily recognizable, not make a mess. So we got parents, stored, able to be packaged and shipped, stored. The stores, the restaurants, they don't want to have to store a lot of these things or take up a lot of space, so it should be easily stored. We'll refine some of these definitions later. I think that's a good start. Okay, so this is a good start. So we have just established a set of requirements for our project. They'll get us started. We need to make sure that we do our best to adhere to these, but they're not all equal. So we need to figure out what are the most important things. So we need to come through here and look at these and start ranking them. So for example, fun, that's got to be near the top of the list. That's going to be something that if it's not fun, if the kids don't want it, then we don't have a product. So I'm going to put fun in number one. And then of course, safe, I'm going to give it a number 2, but we understand that number 2 in this case is still an absolute requirement, like a must-have requirement. We can also look at things that are less important, like making a mess. That's nice. That's not necessarily a deal breaker if it's a messy toy. Kids like messy toys. Kids love messy toys. Kids love being a mess. If you ever been with a little kid, they're a mess all the time. So yeah, we'll put that as a second or low tier thing. Matter of fact, I'm going to put a 1 by all the must do's and a 2 by the nice to do's. So we'll call that a second tier. Theme should have a theme that's going to go with the 1. So that's really just the same. Those would be really the same same requirement. Inexpensive, that's an absolute must. We must that's a first tier requirement. These Happy Meals or kids meals, they sell for like $5. So the restaurant has to be able to make a profit by selling a meal that includes this free toy. So we can't have the toy cost $5 to the restaurant for them to give it away at a loss. Moving parts, that's a project requirement. So that's a packaging and shipping. It absolutely needs to be able to package and ship, but we're not really going to concern with that because we're just going to make it small. So I'm going to put that as second tier. Even though it is important, it's just not going to be something I'm going to focus on a whole lot. Timeline, of course, that's super important. So we have to make sure that we complete this in a given period of time. Sustainable, I hate to say this because it's super important in the big picture of life and planet, but it doesn't make money. And in business, that's second tier. Until somebody steps in and creates a financial incentive, our company will just go out of business, and then we won't be able to do anything. So that's not sustainable. So we will consider that. We're not saying that putting something on second tier doesn't mean we're not going to do it. It's going to rank lower than our first tier considerations. Easily stored storage. That's a second tier. Again, important, but that's something we can resolve on the next phase of this project. Easily recognizable. Kids are pretty good at recognizing toys, so I'm not going to put that as a high priority thing. Non-staining, no choke hazard. That's a first tier. First tier problems, choke hazard, and the same with the food contamination. We can't use materials that are dangerous. Non-staining, I don't know. That's a problem that we'll avoid, but I'm not going to put that as a top thing to consider. And theme goes with fun, and that's it. So we've just broken that down. So now I have my requirements are now set. So there are my requirements. They're set. They're prioritized. I didn't necessarily take any out of there. All the number ones are must do. It has to happen or we don't have a project. All the number twos are things we're going to strive for, but if we happen to fall short on any of them, it's not the end of the world. We'll still be able to go forward. So there you have it. That's setting your requirements, understanding your requirements, and moving on with the design process. And the next step, we'll start brainstorming possible solutions. Thanks for coming out to play. As always, keep being awesome.